Welcome back to the chat room. I am joined today with Nina LaBruna. She is the owner of LaBruna Skincare. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Megan. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, even on, I don't know if it's gloomy for you, but it's a bit of a gloomy day here. So glad that you have some lights in the background to light it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it cozy in here.
So let's get started and share with everybody, what made you want to choose to start a skincare company?
So in college, I went to NYU as an undergrad student. I started getting interested in yoga, and I think that's kind of what brought me down the wellness route.
Mhm.
I started taking a lot of yoga classes and actually did a training and became a teacher. So that kind of led me into having an interest in, things of like nutrition. And with my interest in nutrition, I also wanted to make sure that I was taking care of my body in an appropriate way, so I started using skincare products. And I started learning that there were a lot of products that had super toxic ingredients in them, and that really surprised me. That's why I started actually making my own products so that I could have ingredient clarity and know what was going on to my skin and being absorbed into my body. um, yeah, it all started from just an interest in health and wellness.
So when you said you went to NYU, when you were at NYU, did you study things in health and wellness? Was that your major, or did you do something else?
Yep. So I started taking nutrition courses in undergrad as an undergrad student, and I'm continuing my education now in graduate school to get my registered dietitian license and my master's in clinical nutrition. So I believe that nutrition and skincare are super related, and what you eat ends up showing up on your skin and your body. So that's why I'm back in school now, to kind of further my education and understanding of the connection between these two. So like I like to think of skincare as kind of the food for your face, what you apply on your skin, specifically if they're phytonutrient, antioxidant rich ingredients that come from the plant derivatives of those ingredients, provide a lot of the same vitamins and minerals and omega fatty acids that food provides. So I'm trying to kind of bridge that gap between food and skincare, and yeah, have skincare that you can feel really good about putting on your face. And
I know that your line is called LaBruna Skincare, but as we were talking before off camera, you actually have different sections to your skincare. You have your own handmade products. Can you tell us more about those?
yeah, so I first started the company by making my own products, or I first started, with my interest in skincare by making my own products, and that I really just did in my college dorm. I was making little soap bars and lip balms. But when I decided that I wanted to start my own company, I, didn't really know how to package and how to market these handmade ingredient products. So I actually went to a chemist, and I found one in Canada that I liked, because Canada has stricter regulations in terms of what ingredients they can use. And I started working with them to formulate some more clinical, anti-aging, clean products. So that is the parent company. The parent company is called LaBruna Skincare. That's how I started the line. And I now refer to those products as my lab products, because they're a little bit more clinical. But I continued making my handmade products, and I really have a passion for those. I love making my scrubs and my oils. And then, as I got really confident with my recipes and my formulations, I decided to make a brand extension. I called those the Nina products, Nina by LaBruna Skincare. And those I now sell all over the place in a bunch of different stores, and that's kind of what's picking up a little bit more now. So kind of the clarity there with the names, the parent name, and then the extensions.
Yeah. And I like how the other ones are called the lab products, and then it's, LaBruna, part of lab, but it's also made by lab.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
So is everything in the Nina line, is that all handmade by you, or do you outsource anything through a supplier company?
I actually make all of those myself.
Wow.
So I rent out a space, a lab facility in Midtown in Manhattan, and I go there almost every day. I make and mix and play around with different ingredients. So yeah, those are all handmade by me. As the company grows and scales, I'll probably have to source them a bit more, but at this time in the company, I try to, get my hands involved with every aspect of the Nina products, even with the packaging and labeling. I'm putting labels and shrink wrapping everything. So
You're a one-stop shop. What kind of ingredients do you use in those handmade products? Where do you source them from? Are they local? Do you get them from afar?
So they're all plant-based ingredients. They're really effective phytonutrient, anti-rich oil powders. So, I try to ethically source them from the plant's natural origin. So, for example, our St. John's wort oil, our calendula oil are from Cyprus, an island off of Greece. The maracuja oil, which is passion fruit, is from Brazil, and our sea buckthorn actually comes from Siberia. And they're all local farms in those countries. And yeah, I just try to source them as ethically as possible. So some of my favorite oils that I like to use, the sea buckthorn actually is in our nourishing face oil. It was the oil used to help treat Chernobyl burn victims. So it's really effective with healing and stimulating cell regeneration of the. So I just try to use oils and ingredients that are really effective and concentrated with their macro and micronutrients, so that feel like they're getting some anti-aging effects as well as a nourishing element. And a lot of these ingredients that I use in the Nina product are also anti-inflammatory and antibacterial. So they're really good for acne and for any sort of like eczema or rosacea or kind of inflammatory skin issue that you might have going on. So those are for my Nina products. And then my lab products are also, because they're clean, so they're free of toxins, there is a big emphasis on plant-based ingredients in those that are like peptides and hyaluronic acid, retinol, alpha hydroxy and beta hydroxy acids, niacinamide. So they're really, really helpful in helping to restore the skin and anti-aging benefits.
So when you talk about, your facial oils and things like that, for those who don't know the difference, because I don't totally know the difference between like face oils and face lotions and things, are you supposed to use both? Do you just use one? Do you use one in the summer versus one in the winter? Does it depend on your skin type?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different ways to use skincare. I'd say the most important thing is you definitely need a cleanser, because that's before you put anything on your face, you have to cleanse. So cleanser, after that, you might want to exfoliate 2 to 3 times a week just to kind of help stimulate that cell regeneration and kind of clear off any dead debris and dead cells that are stuck on the skin. After that, you would want to use some sort of serum. And a serum is a little bit different than an oil. So I think that's kind of where some people get a little confused. A serum is actually water-based. So it helps to restore hydration to the skin a little bit more than a oil will, because an oil is oil-based. But they are similar in the sense that they're made up of small particles, and they actually can penetrate the skin quite deeply to provide some nourishment, because they're made up of really strong concentrated ingredients. So I definitely think having a serum or an oil is important in your routine. There are some oils that are made of smaller particles that can penetrate deeper like serum. So if you see an oil-based serum, that's usually what that means, that it is a oil-based product that can penetrate deeply like serums can, but it won't have that water component that a serum has. So that's a preference, and I think it depends how many ingredients someone wants or how many products somebody wants to use. And if they have drier skin, if you have drier skin, maybe you might want to use a serum instead of an oil. But it's kind of, everyone's skin is super different, so you have to kind of test different products, see what works best for you. After your serum or oil, you're going to put on some sort of eye product. And usually I recommend using something with arnica, which helps to kind of get rid of puffiness or any circles. And then usually you seal off your skincare treatment with a moisturizer. And a moisturizer, again, is different than an oil or a serum because it has that water component. Is a little bit more hydrating than an oil, but it's less phytonutrient or antioxidant rich dense as like a serum or an oil might be. After that, sunscreen, that's kind of the most important one to use. So that's kind of like a general, if I'm going to start with a skincare routine, what should I do? But, you know, if that's too much and it's like, oh my gosh, that's, you know, and you're supposed to do these things twice a day too. You know, you're supposed to
Yeah.
cleanse morning and night and put your serum on morning and night and put your moisture on morning and night. It tends to be quite time consuming. So if that's a little bit too much, I would say definitely cleanse. Definitely try to exfoliate once in a while and get a nice moisturizer. And then once put it on an oil or a serum to help kind of give your skin that extra oomph it needs. So
Well, and with you living up in the Northeast, you know, there is a drastic climate change between winter and summer. Do you find that you need different moisturizing products during those different seasons?
my skin, I would say, tends to get much drier in the winter. So I do have to make sure I put on definitely a moisturizer along with my oils morning and night for my skin to feel hydrated throughout the day. During the summer, there just tends to be more moisture in the air. It's a little bit more humid. So normally I can sometimes even skip the moisturizer the morning, just put on my oil and put on moisturizer at night. So again, every tip is kind of in the normal range. It doesn't get too oily, it doesn't get too dry. So that's what works best for me. But for some people, maybe whether it's just really, really dry, they have to kind of have their oil in their bag. And whenever they're feeling a little dry, put some oil on and make sure that they're putting on their moisturizer morning and night. And that should cover it. But yeah, it definitely, skin can change drastically due to the climate and the weather. I know drier climates, people tend to actually age faster. You know, skin is exposed to more UV light, and drier climates, their hydration is literally getting pulled out of their skin. So if you're living in a drier climate, it's important to take extra and to continue to moisturize your skin when needed and whenever you're feeling that it's drying up. Whatever you do from the inside, that's kind of the most. So if you're dehydrated, your skin will look and feel dry as well. So definitely make sure you're getting enough of your water. It's about 2 liters a day you should be drinking.
It's funny because you know, you mentioned what happens on the inside affects the outside, and it's like it seems so common sense, but I feel like most people don't think about it, you know? So it's very neat that you know, take all the things that are important nutrients to your body and make it a point to put them in your face care because it is important for the skin on your body as well.
Right. I like to think of it as like you need to start first with the base of your skin health, and that's what you're eating. So if you're eating a lot of inflammatory foods from dairy and even spicy sometimes, or high glycemic foods, which are like high sugary or refined sugared foods, that can actually cause acne flare-ups on your skin. So you know, start with what you're eating and try to do some research and try to eat more plant-based and less refined sugars or carbs, and less saturated fats, and drink more water and see how that changes your skin. And once you have, you know, the internal system running smoothly, then you can start supplementing your skin and saying, now I mean, you should always continue to use your skincare, but once you're eating well and eating healthy, then you can supplement that with an additional boost of through your cosmetics and through what you're applying onto the skin.
And in your line, I know that you guys offer a variety of options. What would you say is, you know, your biggest seller, your best sellers?
So definitely our nourishing face oil. That's the number one. We sell that one. That one sells out all the time. I think that's because it's a really, really rich product. I mean, the ingredient list is incredible. I honestly haven't come to find another oil that I personally like nearly as much, and it's well priced considering what else is out there. It's within the more affordable bracket, but it's also just, I think people are really starting to appreciate products that are like serums or oils that could be an additional benefit to your typical skincare routine. So that's why that oil does so well. Um, you know, it's very appealing because of its ingredients and how effective it is in terms of helping to stimulate cell growth and provide anti-age benefits. But other than that, we also have an eye serum, a cucumber arnica eye serum. It sells super well, and our natural retinol serum, which is made of just really different high concentrated seeds that are high in vitamin A, which is what retinol is. So that also is very anti-inflammatory and anti-aging. So those are our top three. And I would say in our lab line, our peptide products sell really well. Peptides are amino acids that help to build and stimulate collagen production, which is the main protein in your skin that helps give it structure and elasticity and make it look youthful. So it's a very hot ingredient. You know, people want to incorporate some sort of peptide into their daily routine.
Yeah. For people who may be considering starting their own line, or at least just, making their own products at home, what are some things that you think they should know?
Well, there's advantages to making your own products. You know exactly what you're putting into it. It's a lot like cooking in that way, and you can tailor it to your skincare needs. It can also be more economical. I invite you not be intimidated by the idea of it. It is like cooking, and even cooking can feel intimidating, but there are lots of recipes online and very accessible, easy to do DIY recipes that you can look up and watch videos on. One thing I would say is that a lot of these DIY handmade products include things like egg, yogurt, and water, which are perishable. So just make sure that if you're using or making your own products, that you are refrigerating them and trying to use them up within like a week or so that they don't start to build bacteria.
That's a really good tip, because I think that's something that most people wouldn't think of, because a lot of skincare typically sits on your counter in your bathroom, not in the fridge. So
right. It's like it's fresh food from your apartment, so got to treat it like it's food as well.
Yeah. What inspires the items in your skincare line?
So I try to kind of look at what's out in the market and what is already accessible, and what is popular. So for example, the face oil, that's like when I came up ingredient list or that recipe a year ago, I noticed that face oils were really popular at the time. So I looked at what was out there, and I realized that I actually couldn't find a best-selling oil that I thought contained all of the ingredients I would like it to contain. So I kind of use inspiration of what is going on in the market, what people are interested in, and come up with a recipe that I find to believe better than what's out there, and richer and more concentrated in its ingredients. So yeah, and I try to have a diverse grouping of products too, so that like for example, my scrubs, they come in a few different scents and different kinds of ingredients, so that if somebody is more interested in like a rose, more nourishing shea butter type product, they have that option. If somebody wants something that's more citrusy smelling with clay and brown sugar, they have our citrus scrubs. So I just try to offer an assortment of products also within that grouping that people can choose from. Like if you look at my face masks, I have 6 different masks for different skincare needs and types. So one is concentrated and specifically formulated for people who have oily, acne-prone skin. Another one is for people who have eczema and sensitive skin and dry skin. So I try to cater to all different skin needs and types.
Yeah, that's great, because there's so many different ones out there. So it's nice to have options for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, we've talked a lot about, making your own ingredients and knowing what's in there. Can you explain, I know online they'll use the term clean beauty. Can you explain a little bit about what that is, and, why it's important to use that, and why you've chosen to kind of make your line a version of clean beauty?
So clean beauty just means that toxic ingredients are omitted from the ingredient list, so that you can feel like what you're putting on your skin is safe as well as effective. And the reality is there are lots of toxic ingredients out there and still being used in cosmetic and skincare formulations, and even household products, such as fragrances, phthalates, parabens, sulfates, formaldehydes. These are all known carcinogens. They're also endocrine disruptors, and some of them can be really harmful for the environment. So clean beauty products are just as effective, if not effective, than their harmful counterparts. Usually they're actually richer in their plant-based ingredient list, and the more clean, natural alternatives to these ingredients are actually more beneficial for our skin, for our bodies, and we absorb it better, and it's works better in unison with our skin's natural needs. So if you think about it, what you apply to your skin is absorbed into your body, and why not supply it with ingredients that are nourishing and aidful rather than harmful and possibly toxic? So, why even run the risk of using ingredients in products that could hurt you? So, I mean, that's my idea of it, and that's why I wanted to provide products that people and consumers could feel safe and good about using, um, and omit that risk of toxicity.
Well, and I noticed you mentioned before that a lot of the things you used are ethically sourced as well. So, why should consumers be more mindful about, the types of products that they purchase and that they use in their daily life?
There's lots of alternatives now, and I think everything has a footprint. So you can choose a product that comes in a glass container that can be recycled. Why not choose something like that over a product that's going to come in all of this plastic and can't be really reused? It's important to trust the brand that you're using and know that they're trying their best to source ingredients from companies and farms that are treating employees well and safely. And um, you know, sure, you see a product on a shelf, but where did all those ingredients come from? How's that packaging made? Is that packaging able to be recycled? So it's just important to start thinking about those things, like what's behind the product that's on the shelf? How did it get here? Are all of those steps things that I want to support and believe in? Is this help the country and the world as a whole, or is this hurting us? So just for the greater good of things, it's important to start considering what and how products are made. Not just in skincare, but with clothes, with anything that's on a shelf that you're buying.
And the nice thing is I think there's a lot more information out there nowadays where people can find out, where their products are coming from and, are there alternatives that are more eco-friendly, or cleaner. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now into more of the fun stuff. I know you mentioned that you really got into kind of a lot of this through your practice in yoga. So, what is your favorite style of yoga, and how often do you teach classes?
Um, you know, it's funny, like my practice has totally transformed over the last few years. When I first started getting into the practice, I was very intrigued by vigorous vinyasa, hardcore hatha, holding things for a really long time. And I was just intrigued so much by the physical component of and getting fit and being strong. And I think now I'm much more intrigued by the therapeutic side, by the meditation, by the mindfulness that comes with the physical practice. So I'm still teaching. I actually have come up with my own method. It's a mixture of bar and yoga. So I believe that in yoga there is a lack of emphasis on the core when the center of the practice really demands core strength. So I do incorporate a lot of little ab exercises, arm workouts, glute exercises within the flow, within the stretch, within the breathing. So before quarantine, teaching just twice a week at a studio in Manhattan on the Upper East Side called Five Pillars. Before then, before I started my company and was in grad school, I was teaching almost every day at different studios and going to different private clients. But that sizzled down a little bit. So currently I was teaching for them on Zoom for a little bit, but I have started working with my friend, and we started a nonprofit philanthropic yoga group where every other week I teach a class, and all of the money we get is donated to a cause. So last week we did one. I did a class and everyone Venmo'd, and we donated all the proceeds to the Trevor Project for Gay Pride Month.
I feel like everything's on Zoom these days. It's the world we live in.
Everything's become virtual.
Yeah.
Can't wait to keep it again.
Do you find it harder to teach online versus in person? Like, I'm sure it's a very different experience.
Totally. In person, you feel really connected with your students and with everyone in the room. And in person, I'm so focused on everyone else's bodies and going around and adjusting and giving cues and noticing if someone's doing something that might hurt themselves. I'm going over and giving them an alternative. Online, I can't watch everyone. I can't I'm kind of trusting. I feel a little bit more blindsided, and obviously I prefer teaching in person, but I'm trying to use what I can to my advantage at this time. And there is also something nice about doing it virtually. You can do it from anywhere and everywhere. I think also when I'm teaching in person, I don't really get as mentally ingrained in the practice in the moment because I'm so focused on everyone else. I'm not doing the practice myself. So when I'm teaching on Zoom, I'm actually doing the whole class. I'm actually practicing. And I do notice that maybe my sequence gets a little bit more creative and the class might feel a little bit stronger because I'm actually doing it and feeling what would be the next good move to go into.
Right.
So that is the benefit to doing it online. I've definitely been keeping myself busy, been practicing a lot of yoga, been just working a lot, honestly, taking this time to work, make my products, come up with some new formulations. I just did some repackaging. So I spent the last month, ending everything, and that's all going to be coming out very soon. So some fun things that are in the works.
And with your labels, talking about repackaging and things like that, do you create them on your own? Did you have to come up with the skills of, creating them online? Do you use a program? Do you use help from friends or family?
So in undergrad, I actually took a few Photoshop courses, learned how to use Adobe Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator. So I actually did make and create all of my packaging and labeling.
Nice.
But I have been working with a friend of mine who's a graphic designer for this new and upcoming packaging because she just has some that I don't in that area. So she's created some really, really beautiful designs. I'm so excited to present them. And we now have boxes for our products. So everything was kind of just in their jars before, but now they'll have their own boxes as well. So so she did help me with those designs. I'm starting to realize, when I first started the company, it was just me, and slowly over time, I've had some employees come in, some interns, and now we have a nice team of 7 of us. So some of the jobs are kind of shifting elsewhere, and I'm trying to let the reins loose, and that's something I've had to learn how to do, is just to trust other people, and that might be their skill set, and knowing where my skills lie and where other people's do, and that's part of growing a business is growing the people that work there and letting different jobs go to others.
Yeah, for sure. I've been in management, and it is hard to kind of just, like you said, let loose on the reins and let somebody take over. So.
Yeah, especially when it's like your baby or your project and you've worked on it and you feel like you know what to do with it. You'll surprise yourself by letting other people, do things for it and take the reins on it. And you're like, oh, okay, actually that worked out better.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't have thought of that. Or yeah, that's, a really great idea. So kind of trusting that process and seeing that unroll and happen has been really interesting and cool, and a nice learning lesson.
Yeah. For those people who are just interested in learning more about this at home, do you recommend any resources or any books that they can, look to just read up more about, skincare in general or handmade skincare?
Yeah, there's a good book. It's called The Skincare Bible. That's a very comprehensive book, kind of explains the skincare routine and the main ingredients that you should look for and avoid in skincare products. There's another really good book I read called Absolute Beauty by Pratina Raker, who talks a lot about natural beauty and clean beauty. Skincare Bible has a
Oh, it's so cute.
pretty cute. And then this one, Plant Powdered Beauty, has been a good little one for me that has some nice pieces that you can refer to. And also the Holistic book has some other just good basic information about clean beauty and a list of different recipes and ingredients to avoid. So I think, if you're interested in this, I would just start, or if you're interested in making your own products, I would just start by purchasing a book, or even, there's videos on YouTube now and recipes online, just kind of Googling, how to make a handmade hand cream or something, and just seeing what comes up and seeing if there's a recipe that makes you just like cooking. It's very similar to cooking. So think of it that way.
I like that.
Yeah.
Just like cooking.
Okay. Just finding a recipe that intrigues you.
Yeah, for sure. So where can everybody find you? I know you have a website and I'm sure you have socials. Where can viewers find you?
Our website is LaBruna, LABRUNA, skincare.com. So you can go to our website there, see all of our products, information, the about us. We have a toxic ingredients that we omit. So you can kind of start educating yourself about that on our website. You can find our Instagram at LaBruna Skincare, and we're on Twitter. I have my LinkedIn, but definitely go to the website. The website also has the links to all of our socials. So I would start there.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Nina, for being here with me today and for sharing all your knowledge about skincare and handmade products and yoga and everything. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the time, all the questions. It's been really fun.
Good. So everybody watching, make sure you tune in next time. We'll have some more videos coming, and make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram at untitled_women. Nina, thank you again, and we will talk to you all soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.